Shalom, shalom, friends. It's good to be here as always. And I just want to take a moment and thank you for subscribing. Many people subscribe, and it's when you subscribe that we are able to reach more people, and I get these notices about how many people we're reaching across the globe, and it's certainly an honor to be with you. Now, of course, this week is Hanukkah, and Hanukkah in and of itself is a wonderful time, a wonderful season. And it really is a holiday of light and hope. I mean, that's really the theme of it. The word Hanukkah means dedication. It's about a dedication, rededication of the temple area. And we light lights in this darkest time of the year. This year has been unlike any other year because just on the eve of Hanukkah, our community was rocked by a terrible shooting that happened in Australia, of all places, a place that has welcomed Jews safely for many, many years, and not a place where we would have expected anti-Semitic violence, violence against the Jewish community who came to celebrate and gather together for a Hanukkah celebration. More than one conversation that I had today, several conversations in fact that I had today and yesterday, were with those who asked the question, Rabbi, why does this happen? How does this happen? Why is there such evil in the world? And this, my friends, is an age-old question. Maybe the question that we've been asking as human beings for as long as we've been human beings, and as long as we've gathered together as in societies and in cities and in communities. Why are there those who seek to destroy us, who seek somehow to promote violence on us, and who see that as the solution to whatever problems that they're facing, whatever challenges they perceive in the world, that their solution is evil and violence and killing? That's the question. Our Jewish tradition has provided us a rich amount of material. Last week I talked about some of my thoughts on the meaning of life, but this question, where does evil come from? This question has perplexed us for so long, and I turned to a book that I've had in my library for a number of years, and that I read some years ago. It's from a series of books that were published by the Jewish Publication Society on Essential Judaism. This particular book, by a colleague of mine, Rabbi Wayne Allen, is titled Thinking About Good and Evil, Jewish Views from Antiquity to Modernity. Now, I turned to that book because I knew that Rabbi Allen had summarized some of the views that we've had across the centuries. And as you might expect, throughout Jewish history, we've had many answers to the question, why is there evil? From the oldest days, the days of the Bible and the prophets, it was often thought that evil was the result of poor choices that human beings had made in their life. That human beings had somehow brought whatever evil happened onto themselves because they had made whatever choices. We can find this in Deuteronomy and Micah and other places as well. But that's not a totally sufficient answer. Isaiah suggests that maybe evil was created by God. Maybe evil was just one of those things that God created and that exists in the world and is just there. Or maybe, as we read in the book of Psalms, evil has a purpose. And this is a difficult one for me to understand. Difficult one, and one that I probably reject, but it's reflected in the book of Psalms and other writings, and that is that evil exists simply to improve the character of the victim. And while that may happen, it's a tall price to pay to improve character. Maybe some sources in Judaism throw up their hands and say that evil is just the way the world is. It is because of just like the stars in the skies are there, and we can't explain why are there stars in the sky. We can't explain evil either. You can find that in Talmud and in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Perhaps in the early Middle Ages, or in other times, such as Maimonides and later, they understood evil to be maybe even illusory. Maybe it's not even what it is. Maybe there's something more going on that we cannot see. Some supernatural power taking place. But to me, this answer too is far from satisfactory when you look at the faces of those who are grieving, those who are victims of evil, who have died because of evil. And then you tell them, well, maybe it's not really evil. Maybe there's something else. I could go on and on and on. Up until even modern era, when Jewish philosophers have suggested that evil is simply God's absence, and that allows evil to sneak into the world. Rabbi Allen, in his book, gives us 38 answers, 38 statements as to why Jewish sources are 38 sources of evil that he could identify in writings, Jewish writings. 22 reasons why individuals may experience suffering in their own lives. But the bottom line is, friends, we do not have an answer to the question. We just don't know. And yet, the conflation of this shooting in Australia and the holiday of Hanukkah, I think, underscores for us something that we know deep down. Evil is there, but we cannot let it pull the world into darkness. We're going to have to provide the light. We're going to have to strike the match, light the match, and provide a little light into this world that can easily be overcome with evil. And Hanukkah wants to remind us that. This terrible event that happened in Australia has shaken the Jewish community in Australia and really around the world to the core. But no one canceled an event. No one has stopped lighting the menorah. No, excuse me, no one has thrown up their hands and said, this year we'll forget about Hanukkah. Instead, we've doubled down and we've made sure to light our lights even brighter than ever before. We'll conclude now with the mourner's Kaddish prayer, as we always do, especially keeping in mind the victims of this terrible shooting. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah. B'alma divrei kirutei v'yamlich machutei. B'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael. B'agalav yizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam le'amei amayam. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitboar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yidadar v'yidaleh v'yidalal shemei d'kudishah barichu. Le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata damiran b'elma v'imru amen. Yehi shlomo Rabbah min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imramav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.